I'm Dr. Connie. I'm your host of Mind Your Health podcast. I share my unique perspective both as a practitioner and a patient battling autoimmune condition for over 25 years because I had to figure things out on my own, and my education in my practical approach as a patient allows me to truly integrate it so that you can be whole and the burden of sick care is no longer your own burden to carry. And this is what we help you with in this podcast. Hey everyone. So I just wanted to catch you up on my personal life. We've moved into this amazing property, and I'm so much more happy and at peace. And, I've always known, but this just feels like home. Like we are just so happy here. The dogs are happy. My whole family's happy. So anyway, with that being said, I wanted to talk about mindfulness and the difference between mindfulness and meditation. Because part of what I want to do is to really share some of the things that's really helped me to overcome my health crisis in the last 3 years. Because I've lost a lot. I've never been through something so horrendous and so hard. And I was told by my friends and family how strong I am and all the things. But, when you're put into a situation where there are just no options other than for you to just put your head down and focus on getting well, and you deciding that and how your sickness impacts or affects all the people you love, it's really another layer of responsibility you become so hyper aware of. And I did have to struggle with a lot of negative feelings that came up for me. At times it got so dark that I didn't want to wake up the next day. And I think, as a clinician myself, we always know when things get hard, especially with health crisis, that a lot of patients may think about ending their lives. And for you to actually feel what that feels like and finally have the empathy towards those people, that was just really hard. And I know some of us are going through some hard times. So I just want to just shout out to you and tell you, everything gets better. It's just a matter of your perspective and you reframing sort of how you're going to respond to the situation. Because at the end of the day, I had to really come close to facing death and in real ways. How would that affect my kids? How would that affect everything around me? And at the end of the day, if you're not here, you have nothing to worry about, right? So sometimes we think death is so scary, but I think we should all be focusing on how to be optimally and functionally be available for the loved ones and for our lives, and be thankful for what we're able to do, as opposed to always thinking about the things that's not going right for us. Because frankly, if I'm being bluntly honest with you, even before my health crisis, I don't think I was all that happy. I think I always habitually sought out things to be unhappy about. And that just became sort of my drive for achieving more. But I realized through this whole course of, getting sick and healing process and going through it, even still, I realized it's really not about achieving something. Health is not something that you achieve, that you end up, like at a destination, but really it's the journey, right? Because your health needs and your physiology changes as you age, and, different environmental conditions will sort of set off the different genetic codes to either turn on or turn off. And we know this from studying epigenomics so much. I'm so sorry. We have so many people walking around in the backyard, so my dogs are going crazy whenever they're strangers. Anyway, I digress. So today is all about talking about and discovering the power of mindfulness and acceptance in difficult situations. And I would just want to say, it was when I was able to fully surrender to what is instead of resisting it and, really always being fearful of it. I gave it more juice and power over me, versus now that I'm surrendered to it, it gives me a new perspective and new confidence and new resolve to sort of move forward in the way I need to. And to say, the cliche, I feel different person, like as if I'm reborn again after the last 3 years of very difficult situations and conditions that I've had to live through. But when we talk about mindfulness, I want you to understand, people confuse mindfulness with meditation, but really practicing mindfulness is all about acceptance and surrendering to what is. And it is the most difficult thing to do when you're going through something very difficult. But mindfulness is really about embracing the present moment, not thinking about the future or the past of what has been done or what could happen, but really being here and now. Because I realize I feel healthier than I've ever felt before. And that's despite the kidney failure and despite all the conditions going against me. And right here, right now, today, I feel like invincible. And if I live in the future or the past of what could be or what has happened, then I'll always not be here fully enjoying this moment where I'm living in this beautiful dream home and I have this healthy and capable body. But if I think and really get stuck on my condition for what is, what could do for me, when in fact right now I'm feeling good and capable and able, well, that's robbing myself of all the joy out of life, right? And so I decided that every day it's going to be a special day to recount and really remember the things that are super important to me. Because mindfulness involves fully engaging with the present moment and paying attention to your thoughts, your feelings, and sensations without judgment, and recognizing me, especially for me, recognizing the triggers around it. And immediately when feeling triggered, go ahead and journal about what it's and how it's impacted you. And mindfulness really does help you to stay grounded because it helps you to focus on the here and now. You avoid becoming overwhelmed by the past regrets or the future anxieties. And then you gain clarity because you get to objectively observe your thoughts and emotions, which helps you to understand your reactions and the true nature of the situation. And then it helps you to reduce stress because mindfulness practices like deep breathing and body scans and doing yoga in this way, like connected to your breath, it calms the nervous system, reducing stress and physical emotional impact. And then acceptance is all about shifting perceptions because acceptance involves acknowledging and embracing your current reality without resistance. This doesn't mean resignation, but rather your understanding that your perceptions and your experience shape, or your perceptions shape your experience. Because our perceptions and beliefs about the situation significantly influence our emotional and mental response. Like I told you, kidney failure. I can be so distraught over it and tell myself, oh my gosh, I have kidney failure. I have kidney failure. I have kidney failure, so I'm going to have a bad day and today's not going to be good. What good does that do? Versus, I feel wonderful today. There is nothing I can't do because of my kidney failure. So I'm going to choose to enjoy my day for what it can be and live into that possibility, right? And then you want to release control because you recognize that some aspects of life are beyond your control, which allows you to focus on what you can change, which are your reactions and your mindset. And then it gives you some emotional freedom because acceptance helps you to let go of anger, frustration, and disappointment, making space for growth and positive change. And then there's the growth and evolution. Combining mindfulness and acceptance fosters resilience and personal development because you learn from the insights you gain. Because facing difficulties, while it's hard, But when you do it with mindful, accepting attitude, it enables you to gain valuable insights into yourself and your coping mechanisms. And then it provides you with inner strength. These practices build emotional resilience, helping you easily handle future challenges. You don't make drama out of nothing. It is difficult, you acknowledge it, and then you're able to then better move forward with complete confidence and resolving clarity, which is speaks volumes for this ability, right? And then the effect is the positive transformation, because embracing adversity as an opportunity for growth allows you to transform pain into a source of strength and wisdom. So our perceptions and beliefs often limit us, but by practicing mindfulness and acceptance, you can break free from the constraints. And these practices helps you to see challenges in a new light, fostering personal growth as well as resilience. And you embrace the journey of mindful acceptance and discover the power within you to navigate life's difficulties with grace as well as strength. Okay? But I do have to really recognize that when you're going through these hard times, there are some common feelings when you're facing difficult situations. And navigating these challenging times, it's normal. It's important for you to know that it's normal for all of us to experience a wide range of emotions. And I want to discuss some of these common feelings that often may arise so you can ready yourself for it, right? There's the stress anxiety. So stress and anxiety causes overwhelm. It causes tension in the body. And there's going to be a lot of unease about the present and the future. And the impact that it has is you're going to have difficulty focusing, you're going to be irritable, and you're going to have physical symptoms like headaches or stomach issues that get in the way of you living your best life. And then there's fear, you guys. This is all about worry or dread about the potential outcomes or the unknown. And the impact of this is hesitation in making decisions, avoidance of certain situations, and heightened alertness. And then there's the sadness and the grief, okay? And this is when you feel this deep sorrow, a sense of loss. And I had this sense of loss of self, right? And everything I knew, loss of health, right? That was so traumatic for me. And I felt this deep sorrow and mourning over what was or what could have been had I had this health. And then the impact was tearfulness. I withdrew from social activities and I had complete decreased, non-existent energy. And then it would waver between anger and frustration. It's all about feeling irritation or resentment, often stemming from a sense of injustice or lack of control. Boy, did I struggle with this one. And the impact is that I would have outbursts to my spouse and impatience, and I started to have conflict with my kids, and that wasn't fun at all. And then this other one is hopelessness, feeling that this situation is completely impossible and I cannot handle anymore. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing I can do to improve, or that my efforts are futile, right? That was really hard for me. So that's all about uncertainty about what to do next or how to handle the situation. And then this is going to cause you to have difficulty in making decisions. You're going to feel very lost, and you're going to be feeling you're going to be seeking guidance a lot and opinions of others, which can also lead you down a path you don't want to go. And this is a big one. I struggled with this, is guilt and shame. It was all about blaming oneself for the situation or feeling unworthy. And then the impact that this would have is lowered self-esteem, self-critical thoughts, and reluctance to seek help. You don't want to do anything. And that was really scary. Then there is the isolation and loneliness that you feel. Feeling alone or unsupported when facing a challenge. I really felt like, even though I'm so strong, I wanted to be independent. I had a very difficult time asking for help, because of my situation, as well as to receive the help because of my situation. I almost didn't want to admit to myself almost that this was happening to me. And if somebody were to, or if I were to accept help or need the help, that would mean that I'm accepting of it. And it was something like I just couldn't emotionally handle. And so the impact of this would be social withdrawal, didn't do anything for a long time, longing for that connection, but then also feeling a sense of abandonment all at the same time. And then the frustration and the impatience that you feel, oh boy, right? This is the irritation with pace of progress or obstacles encountered. I always felt the gap between where I am right now, where I think I should be, like the gap is too great that I couldn't even plan my days, right? And then the impact of this is being short-tempered, dissatisfied, and then just complete restlessness. And then you ultimately get to a place where you have resilience and determination. It's a resolve to overcome the challenge and push through adversity. And you no longer blame anybody else. You are sick and tired of feeling so bad. And then the impact of this is increased motivation, proactive problem solving, and focusing on goals. So experiencing these very emotions during difficult situations is completely normal. And I need you to know that because I didn't know that. And I would just be so hard on myself and feeling so bad about myself. And recognizing and acknowledging these feelings is the first step towards managing them effectively. And practices like mindfulness, meditation, and yoga, and seeking support from friends, family, or professionals can actually help you to navigate these emotions and promote healing and resilience. When I did this, my relationships with other people, my friends and family became so tight. Especially you really get to see who's really there for you, which I think is a blessing in disguise. Now I want to kind of focus our attention to the physiological consequences of these negative emotions. So remember, you started with all these symptoms that you're experiencing as a result of whatever challenging things that you're experiencing. For me, it was health. So it was a lot of symptoms that I had already. But then the negative feelings that I just went over, those feelings that you perpetuate during this time, that can also have physiological consequences. Okay. So that's where I want to kind of focus our attention now, is to really understand that negative emotions like stress, anxiety, anger, and sadness can have significant physiological effects on the body. And then let's kind of discuss what some of these common consequences are. So it creates increased stress hormones. And those stress hormones are mainly cortisol and adrenaline, because chronic stress and negative emotions trigger the release of cortisol and adrenaline, which prepare the body for fight or flight response. And the elevated levels of these hormones can lead to various health issues, including immune system suppression, which is the reduced ability to fight infections and increased susceptibility to illness. And then the second thing is the weight gain, particularly around the abdomen due to the effects of cortisol on fat storage and appetite. And you start to have cardiovascular problems like high blood pressure. Negative emotions can cause prolonged increase in blood pressure, putting a strain on the heart and your blood vessels. Then there is heart disease. Chronic stress and anger can increase the risk of developing cardiovascular disease by promoting inflammation and unhealthy lifestyle behaviors. And then there's the digestive issues. Irritable bowel syndrome. Stress and anxiety can exacerbate IBS symptoms, leading to abdominal pain, bloating, and irregular bowel movements. And then it can lead to ulcers. Negative emotions can increase stomach acid production, potentially leading to development of ulcers. And then also muscle tension and pain. There's going to be tension headaches. Stress and anxiety can cause muscle tension, leading to headaches and migraines, and then chronic pain. Negative emotions can exacerbate conditions like low back pain, fibromyalgia, and other musculoskeletal issues. And then there can be sleep disturbances like insomnia. Worry and anxiety can interfere with ability to fall asleep and stay asleep, leading to insomnia and poor sleep quality. Then there's the restless sleep. Negative emotions can cause frequent awakenings and reduce time spent in restorative sleep stages. And then there is the respiratory issues, hyperventilation. Anxiety and panic attacks can lead to rapid, shallow breathing, which can cause dizziness, lightheadedness, and a sense of suffocation. Then there's asthma. Stress and negative emotions can trigger asthma attacks or worsen asthma symptoms. And then there's the weakened immune response. There's reduced immunity. Chronic stress and negative emotions can weaken the immune system, making the body more vulnerable to infections and diseases. And then it can slow the healing process because elevated stress levels can slow down the body's healing process because of the biochemical changes and the inflammation that can bring about. Then there's the metabolic and endocrine effects. Blood sugar levels, you guys. The stress can affect blood sugar regulation, increasing the risk of diabetes or exacerbating existing diabetes. And then there's the hormonal imbalance. Negative emotions can disrupt the balance of hormones, affecting menstrual cycles and sexual function and overall endocrine health. And then a lot of people get skin problems, acne and eczema. Stress and negative emotions can exacerbate skin conditions like acne, eczema, and psoriasis due to increased inflammation and immune response changes. And then the neurological impact. Cognitive function. Chronic stress can impair memory, attention, and decision-making abilities. And then there's the neurotransmitter imbalance. Negative emotions can disrupt the balance of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, contributing to mental health disorders like depression and anxiety. So the physiological consequences of negative emotion highlight the intricate connection between the mental and physical health. And managing stress and negative emotions through mindfulness, meditation, and physical activity and seeking social support can significantly improve overall well-being. So at this time, with my podcast, I want to shamelessly invite you to my YTT Yoga Teacher Training Program, where you can learn all the skills of this mindfulness in the deepest way possible. I, in fact, got certified not to teach or change the career, even though I've transitioned into it today. I did it mainly to overcome some of my inner conflicts that I was having when I was going through flares with my lupus diagnoses at the time, which was over 15 years ago. The other thing that I want to invite you to is if you're local to my Suwannee area or in Gwinnett County and Fulton County, then I want to invite you to try our yoga membership at my place of business, Functional Yoga Medicine in Suwannee, Georgia. And we also have online memberships available so that you can practice mindfulness through somatic experiences that we lead you through. So those two are available for you and the links are down below. So come visit me there, and I would always love your reviews, and follow me on Instagram and all the platforms at Dr. Connie Chung. Thank you so much, you guys, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Mind Your Health podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, we would so much love it and appreciate it if you share it with someone who could benefit as well as to subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else where podcasts are found. And leave us a review. We would be so grateful, and it helps us to reach more people just like you, so you can become more empowered to enjoy longevity and health. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Dr. Connie Chung. And of course, you can subscribe to this podcast for a new episode every single week. Thank you again.